When Sex and the City rebooted back in 2021 and just like that, it came with a promise to patch up the show's terrible record when it comes to LGBTQ plus representation. Every queer person remembers wincing when Carrie Bradshaw, played by Sarah Jessica Parker, claimed in the original series that she wasn't even sure bisexuality existed. Sadly for fans, that representation came in the form of a brand new non-binary character, Che Diaz, played by non-binary actor Sara Ramirez. While we're always here for a bit of non-binary representation on TV, Che has become one of the show's most disliked characters ever for publicly humiliating ex-girlfriend Miranda Hobbes. And just like that, fans are disgusted. I never liked her. I'm just saying. What are we all talking about? Yeah, let's unpack this shit right now, Cal, because you know that you and me always fight about this stupid show.
And for the record, yes, you have said that how much you don't like her. So that it is true. Faye does not like Che Diaz at all.
I don't. I don't like her character.
I think she's a bad representation of the lesbian community.
But she's not lesbian. Sure. She's non-binary.
You know, but I mean, like, but that's, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like,
no, Miranda's our great representation of lesbian.
Yeah, but overall, like, I love the show. Like, I love the fact that it rebooted because it's for a different generation. I love the fact that there's so much more diversity now, new friends that have entered, new storylines. I actually, when I first watched anything Sex in the City is when the movie came out.
Okay.
I had never seen the show before. No. I'd seen like episodes here and there when it was on reruns, you know, things like that. But after the first movie came out, I actually went back and started watching the show, and I watched everything. And then the second movie came out, and now the reboot has come out now, and I think the reboot is fantastic. And the way that they've, like I mentioned, diversified the cast and introduced new characters and new friendships and made it extremely modern day. Like, things that happen in the show are happening to us now. You know, they talk about the pandemic, you know, for those who have seen the show, or, you know, spoiler alert, they some of them have kids, you know, things that Charlotte's going through with her daughter, you know, or what Miranda's going through with her marriage and like her son, you know, so it's a whole new generation of things. And I don't think they realized that it was going to be such a LGBTQ like hit. Or like the gays would love it so much.
You think it's that much of a hit?
I think so, in the gay community. I think that a lot of the LGBTQ plus community love watching Sex in the City because they identify with one of the characters or multiple characters. And there's different things. It's like, you know, some days I identify as a Carrie or as a Samantha or Charlotte or Miranda. So I think when it was originally written, you know, it wasn't intended for that purpose because it was for white women who were growing up in New York. You know, really wasn't an LGBT.
No, and it wasn't inclusive, audience. And they didn't really touch on LGBT. You know, like I mean, they all had the gay best friend, but that was, you know, that was all they had. You know, I think that they roped us in, right? You know how like a crack dealer gives you a taste, right, for free, and then you keep on coming back and paying for it. I think that's what it was. They roped the LGBTQ plus community in because they had you know, the gay best friend, right? But also the fashion was so on point, right? The fashion was everything, and that was why I watched Sex and the City, right?
The New York Fashion Week.
With the New York Fashion Week, and then with the movies, just the elaborate costumes. You know, these were incredible gowns and beautiful, and you know, and the locations that they were on. You know, they were in Dubai. They were just incredible. Then they came back with And Just Like That, and I felt that they saturated the show with LGBTQ. Like, they just were like, we're gonna throw black in there, we're gonna throw trans in there, we're gonna throw non-binary, we're gonna make, you know, Miranda finally a lesbian full force. You know, to me, it was just too much too fast.
You think it's too much?
It was just, I felt like they were trying to cross off all the boxes at once in every episode, Cal. That's what I felt.
Sometimes it does feel that way, you know, and it strays away from, you know, the original story. And I'm always the first to say that, you know, not everything needs to have an LGBTQ plus storyline.
No.
You know, and I always say that for a lot of things, but everyone watches everything and they're like, you know, they'll watch an episode of the Ninja Turtles and be like, well, there's 4 dudes, one of them has to be gay.
Yeah.
You know, like,
because he's wearing purple.
You know, not necessarily. You know, like, so we don't always have to interject that storyline, but I am happy that it's happening, you know, with different characters and stuff like that. But, you know, going back to Che, you know, it's very interesting to see how her character has developed. But not only for Miranda, because she's actually a lesbian in real life, so I'm happy that she's able to play her authentic self now.
Truth.
And she's been able to direct a lot of the episodes and just like that. So she's able to be her authentic self now on screen. You know, so I think that is really incredible for that type of character development. And even for her friends to be able to accept that, for, you know, a close group of best friends who have grown up together for, you know, 20, 30 years, and kind of move towards that acceptance and learning, you know, what she's going through, you know, in the next phase of her life. But, you know, going back to Che, like that last scene, you know, for folks who haven't seen it
who
yet,
cares? We're spoiling it all for you. I mean, God, when
alert,
Che got on stage and did a whole entire act about Miranda and about her relationship with this woman who thought she was straight and all this stuff, like it was, she threw her.
It was
like through the meat grinder.
Yeah,
like,
it was really hurtful.
It really was.
And I get, you know, comedians, you know, everything in their life becomes material.
Yes.
But I thought that kind of crossed the line and it was very hurtful. But I think it was done in a way for Miranda's character to kind of see and open her eyes to, okay, you're exploring your sexuality, but this is not the person that we're supposed to be with.
Yeah, and that's it. And you see Che moves on to somebody else, like, you know, and that's part of her her deal, you know.
And it's part of Miranda's discovery of herself.
You know, Samantha is back. She was back on the last episode. Again, if you didn't see it, you're spoiled. I'm sorry, baby. You know, I'm catching you up, right? So
I wasn't really happy about that.
So they had Samantha in the last episode of the season, and it was her. It wasn't her on a phone. It wasn't her on speaker. Like, it was, you know, it was her in a car talking to Carrie that she couldn't make it to the dinner at the old place. And that's another thing. I miss good locations, right? Yeah. They had to film this at the old apartment because they probably couldn't get another day to film at the new place. You know what I mean? And you could just tell. Like, you could just tell. So Samantha was a part of it, but it was like not wholehearted. It seemed forced again. And like, and that kind of made me believe, I mean, like, I know that there's rumors going around that she might be in some of it next season because it's been brought back for another season. But is it going to keep us like on the hook again, waiting all season for Samantha to show up? Because again, Miranda is my least favorite. I get it. I'm lesbian. Woohoo, I should be happy. She's my least favorite character, you know, and Charlotte is a close second. Like, you know, it was Samantha and Carrie that kept me there, you know, and now that Carrie is the crying Aiden, I kind of can't stand her either, you know, so I need Samantha back.
Yeah. And recently, Samantha's character, now I can't remember her name, her real name, we're just going to call her Samantha. Kim Cattrall, thank you. She was recently on ABC's The View promoting her Netflix series Glamorous.
Which is a great show, watch it if you can.
Yeah, which is amazing. And they asked her about Sex and the City, and she said that HBO actually called her and said that, you know, we would want you back. And Samantha said that she would only do it if it was done her way. So I don't know if that was just the 2 minutes that she was on the show. She wasn't with anyone else. You know, what that means for the future, but hopefully it means there is a return of Samantha because I loved her.
I loved her too.
I loved her for the fact that I related to Samantha in the way that I was always the oldest person in my group of friends, and Samantha was the oldest person in that group of friends. So she brought a little bit of different perspective and wisdom, you know, to her little wit. And I love that. I love that about her.
I love that.
You know, so I hope that next season, and it has, and just like that, it's been renewed for a third season now. By HBO. So hopefully next season we'll be able to see more Samantha.
I hope so.
And less Miranda.
Yeah, I can even do away with Steve too. Like, he's getting on my nerves too.
I love Steve.
Like, I just
okay,
I'm like, yeah, okay, build your bar in Coney Island.
He's such a good guy, though. He's a good guy.
Okay, so maybe you should date him.
I would date Steve.
Okay, well,
but I won't move to Coney Island.
Nobody wants to.
What's the train? What is
Nobody.
the train?
It's the L or the N, all the way. And the only reason I know that is because when I used to drink, I used to fall asleep and wake up in Coney Island when I was trying to get to Brooklyn. It is what it is, right? You learn something new about Faywad all the time. So, did you enjoy the show? I know you did. So make sure to click subscribe so you won't miss any of the events, news, or interviews right here on the Faye What Show. Ring the bell at the bottom of the screen, right there, so you'll be alerted every time we're live. You can also click on the Happening Out Television Network logo so you can see all of the shows on the most diverse LGBTQ plus media network. Find out just what we're doing to bring the L and the G together right here on the Faye What Show. Get the week started with me.